Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Jeff, I have some news to share with you.
Uh-oh. What do you got, buddy?
I am retiring from The Payoff.
Oh, see, that's terrible. I can see it. For those of you at home, I know we don't have the video.
To spend more time with my family. Daddy is coming home.
I should have known from just your salmon jacket that you have on that things are in trouble here. Yeah. Yeah, they I on the flip side, I'm hearing voices in my head. I don't know about you, but that's just took till 2024, but we're finally singing Randy Orton's theme, but here we go. Yeah. So
dude, I love that had never ever been a thing, and now all of a sudden it is because of that one crowd. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it really is when you think about it. Like, yeah, what was it? That UK crowd, like, just insane, doing that. Yeah, like so, but good stuff.
It seems like a song that you'd never sing, but now that people are singing it, it feels like it should have been sung all along. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
the first
absolutely.
time I'm like these nut jobs are singing Rand. And was it the France crowd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So Backlash in France. And I'm just like, what are they doing? And then I'm like, wait a second, I know the words to this. And right. I could sing it, right? It's just so funny.
Why is this? Yeah. Why there's so much of that. Yeah. It is really cool to see. I think this should be a fun one for us to cover. Not a ton of high stakes on this, but still a good match between, Randy Orton. I feel like it's kind of the renaissance of his career at this point. Like as my brother says it, like Randy Orton is the most over wrestler on the planet compared to anyone, like return anything like it's like he gets a pop no matter what. It doesn't matter if he's face, heel, whatever it is. Like Randy Orton, one of the most protected finishers on the planet. Something special about Randy Orton, and it's hard not to like the guy. And so, still out there. I know he has said too. I know the rumors lately have been let's have an Orton Cena at WrestleMania.
We're going to talk about that.
All right, we'll come back to that. And so, I know there's a good Mark Henry story I hear all the time about when he left to go back to the world's strongest man after being in WWE for a while. So there's just a lot of good stuff here, and something we haven't talked about, so it should be good.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to covering this one. It'll be good. I'm sure it's not going to be a 30-minute match.
Yep.
All right, let's get into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
We are in Buffalo, New York, at the First Niagara Center. This is Night of Champions 2011. And if I'm correct, Night of Champions is no longer, correct?
No, correct.
Bad Blood may have been what slid into Night of Champions. They did one last year. So there is a 2023 edition. That was a Saudi show where
yes.
Yeah. Okay. But
in 2010 to 15, it was in September every year. Last year, they had it in May as the Night of Champions. Yeah. You had the Bloodline, and Kevin Owens and Sammy was the main event there in Jeddah.
And that's where Rollins got the new championship.
Yeah. So now I guess it is kind of bad. Well, we're kind of wedged in between at this point between Bash in Berlin and Bad Blood. But yeah, you're right there. Yep.
Okay. All right. So September 18th, 2011. So 13 years ago, we had 11,000 in attendance. We did a buy rate of 161,000. So again, kind of a B pay-per-view. still doing well. I mean, there's still a lot of people order these things, which is wild. All right, it's a fun card. So
Yeah.
dark match, if you can believe this, was Daniel Bryan defeating Heath Slater in 5 minutes. We start off with Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston retaining against the Awesome Truth by DQ. So those guys have a long history of tagging together. So that was for the tag team championship. Our next match, Intercontinental Champion Cody Rhodes defeating Ted DiBiase by pinfall in 9 minutes. I mean, it's funny because, like, I literally don't remember Cody Rhodes' first run. Like, it's just so funny. It's like, I forget he was ever with the company. Like Brock Lesnar, it's like, yeah, I can tell you everything he did in his first run. So it's just, it's interesting.
Yep.
Dolph Ziggler is going to win a fatal 4-way to retain the U.S. Championship over Jack Swagger, Alex Riley, and John Morrison. Our next match is the match we're going to cover, champion Randy Orton against challenger Mark Henry. Kelly is going to defeat Beth Phoenix in 6 minutes to retain the Divas Championship. John Cena is going to defeat Alberto Del Rio by submission to win the WWE Championship. Mm-hmm. And then in our main event, no DQ match, Triple H defeats CM Punk.
Okay.
That'd be a fun match to go back and watch. But I think those two had an interesting rivalry. You kind of had the management thing going on, and Kevin Nash was involved, and it was again, we were talking about this a few weeks ago, but man, the booking. Ugh. All right.
Yeah.
So I know nothing. I'm very curious how we got to this match, and Mark Henry, how he became this kind of super heel, and because it seemed like it came out of nowhere.
So you got Mark Henry on this. So Night of Champions, we'll rewind a little bit here, September 18th, 2011. And going back a little bit here, it was the July 29th episode of SmackDown. Nobody wanted to take him on except Sheamus came out. They had a match. It was actually at SummerSlam. Mark Henry beat Sheamus by count out after slamming him through the barricade at ringside. The following week, you had Mark Henry actually winning a 20-man battle royal to become the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, which at the time Randy Orton held. And so you would have, because of that, and so August 19th, the lead up, so about a month out, you had Orton and Henry, or really Henry, getting involved in Orton's matches, and it was the typical run-in type stuff that we were used to seeing every week, and so and doing that. Now on the flip side, Orton, what he had been up to, we're going to go back to May, actually, beating Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship. That was the second time. You then had him defending against Christian at Over the Limit and winning that one. You had him pinning Christian to retain again a capital punishment. And then at Money in the Bank of that July, you had him one more time, long feud with Christian here, that if Orton got DQ'd or there was, quote, bad officiating, Christian would win the title. But Christian's spit in Orton's face, causing him to lose control of his temper. He ended up getting DQ'd. And so Orton ended up actually losing the championship at that Money in the Bank match. Now, keep going a little bit more here. The SummerSlam that month after this, you had him winning the title back from Christian. It was a no holds barred match, and then that was kind of the end of the feud. It was actually weird to think they had this huge feud on every pay-per-view in the lead up to this, and then it was a steel cage World Heavyweight Championship match on SmackDown in late August. So just weird how that's your kind of cap off to this, and so. And then, like I said, you had Mark Henry kind of getting involved in his different matches because he was the number one contender. And so Orton had this long feud with Christian at the time, which then led into some run-ins with Mark Henry because he was the number one contender. So I say it's fairly straightforward. A big part of when it started, though, was nobody wanted to fight Mark Henry. That was a big part of why Sheamus and him started having their feud, was because Mark Henry was Mark Henry. He's the world's strongest man. Nobody wants to be involved. And so we do get this match that we'll kind of watch and see how that plays into this a little bit. And yeah, that's it.
Love it. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk some Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Talk some Orton. Looking forward to this. We are at the 1 hour and 5 minute mark. Night of Champions 2011, 1 hour and 5 minute mark. Jeff, are you ready?
I'm do this. I'm hearing the voices, man. Let's make this happen.
It's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
Looking younger, huh?
Oh, looking small comparatively. Crazy.
As we know it, has been a part of the WWE for nearly a decade, and some of the greats of all time have held this prestigious championship trip.
Okay, so Orton, Henry, refresh my memory. So Henry is no longer signed with AEW. He left or didn't renew his contract.
I believe he did not that long ago announce that.
Okay.
Yeah,
He never wrestled for them. Big Show wrestled some matches. Mark Henry did not. What was he doing? Was he coaching behind the scenes?
So he's made his debut May 30th, 2021. It was announced it would be part-time commentary team as well as coach. On May 27th, 2024, he announced he would not be renewing his contract and leaving the company upon its expiration the following date of May 28th. So since May 28th, he has not been with AEW. Yep.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that was just weird. I don't really feel like they used him for much.
Yeah, he'll be. I think probably that coach. I think we'll see him. I know he was on TV occasionally, run outs and stuff like that. But I think we'll probably end up seeing him back in WWE at some point. But my favorite Mark Henry story was Mark Henry, who had already been the world's strongest man. He had won that. He was there, and he wanted to go to prove to himself. He wanted to go back and do it again. And the story, as Mark Henry tells it, was that Vince told him, he's like, I will give you the time off to go, be the world's strongest man again. But if you the line that Vince told him was, but I can't have the world's second strongest man. And so pretty much telling him that, okay, if you go and do this, you need to go do this, because if you don't win, I'm not going to have the world's strongest man second strongest man under contract. And so he did go back and won, but boy, talk about that's pretty serious. And and of all the events, good and bad, that story, I can believe. I can absolutely hear Vince I'm not going to employ the second strongest man. It sounds totally true. Yep.
Oh yeah, totally. Love that. So
go ahead.
Meltzer threw, this was a while ago, but just talking about AEW and Mark Henry here. He threw out a theory that got panned pretty hard on Twitter, which was AEW's ratings suffer due to WWE's current popularity. I totally agree with that. And here's why.
Why that doesn't sound shocking. Yeah.
Okay. Here's it got destroyed. And here has been my theory all along. Because everyone, let's say everyone, wrestling Twitter has this huge WWE versus AEW war. Okay.
Yep.
My belief has been the AEW and the WWE fan are not radically different. In most cases, most AEW fans are lifelong WWE fans that got sick of lousy booking over a decade plus period, saw the emergence of AEW, got very excited and tuned in. So the AEW fan in 2019 or whatever year they started, that 1 million+ people that were watching,
yep,
most of them were WWE marks. So 2 things have happened in AEW's existence. WWE has gotten way better. AEW has gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
It was better a few years ago than it is now. So the WWE fan that tuned into AEW is now back with WWE, which is why 1.2 million is now 600,000. Half of them said WWE has gotten better. I don't have to pay for the pay-per-views. I have a job and a family, and I can't watch every amount of wrestling that's on every week. So I'm going to spend my time and energy on WWE. That's what I believe.
I think that I'm with you. I think that there was AEW did come around in a time when WWE was bad. Like people were not a fan, they were not enjoying it. Like that, literally, you had like Stephanie and Triple H, all of them, like, we're gonna listen to the fan. Like you had them on TV trying to like calm people down, like, which is crazy. And so you do that, and then okay, so we're gonna leave. We're gonna go to this other show that's saying wrestling is what we're all about. Like we are gonna be the wrestling show to the character show. And there was not good wrestling at WWE at that time. And so the appeal of it is, let's go and do that. And so everybody, we went and watched it. We checked it out. Like you and I, like, we were there. Like we were in the ballroom watching Jericho win that first belt, at StarCast. And so, that viewing party. And so we were a big part of that too. But then, I almost think WWE got a little worse too. They kept going downhill after that. And so and then the Vince stuff comes out, and then you're dealing with that. And then Vince leaves, and then he comes back, and it's like, oh my God, this is going to be the end of this. And so, but then you get all of a sudden an AEW, I say not all of a sudden, like you get this AEW, like slow, gradual, okay, like it's not as good as it was. Like it does seem like they're hot-shotting booking. Like it's not long-term anything. Like it's difficult. Like, is there some good wrestling on there? Yeah, absolutely. But I send you usually it's like Saturday, usually Sunday morning of a show, whatever the day is. I send you the card of like what that evening's paper or premium live event's going to be. There's 4 or 5, maybe 6 matches on the WWE card. I feel like you got to send you 2 pictures to get all the matches on an AEW card. Like It's just crazy. And so I feel like they're making some decisions and no, I don't want them to be exactly like WWE, but I do feel like they're making some decisions that are putting them at a disadvantage for what they're doing and what's going on. And of course they're leaving. Like it's just, do I want to watch? Like, I feel like they're doing some good stuff with the women, but so is WWE. Like that was a ding for a long time, is like AEW is the place to come for women's wrestling. Well, I don't know. I just saw that the women's Money in the Bank was rated higher than the men's Money in the Bank. So like, what do you want to, what's there to say about that? I don't know. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I totally agree, and I just felt like the people that think the AEW fan base is way different, it's not. Okay, WWE is the ex-girlfriend that got super attractive, and now you go back to. Okay, and that's it. And oh, by the way, you took
a good way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. You're dead on.
And they took their. 2 of their favorite guys. So, again, my theory, most AEW fans were disenchanted WWE fans. Who was the most popular person for a disenchanted WWE fan? CM Punk. Yeah. Okay, like the person in 2019 that says, I am sick of how shitty the WWE booking is. Guess what? They were probably a massive CM Punk fan that feel like he got railroaded by Vince and Triple H. So that's who went to watch AEW. So, and they probably also thought Cody was significantly underutilized as well. So
yeah.
Anyways,
Cody starts the company and leaves.
Yes.
And I don't I'm trying to less and less we can always shit on Tony Khan around here. That's perfectly okay. But some of the wrestlers, I get they needed AEW to have their opportunity. I do think that we have gotten to see a lot more wrestlers because of it. There are some more household names, whether it's MJF, whether it's Hangman, those guys.
No one. I had never seen a Young Bucks match prior to AEW.
Right. And even I had seen them in a house show and it wasn't as big a deal. And so, and I had seen Damian Priest when it was Punisher Martinez in Ring of Honor. And so, there's all those types of things. And so, I don't want to, I think that, because I always say that, you want you want them to go out of business and then have all these people lose their jobs. No, I don't want that. But at the same time, I do want, I want them to be in a position where they can be successful, because I think we learned you have some upper management making piss poor decisions, you're going to get screwed pretty fast no matter how much your paycheck is. And so and I do think though we have seen some interest, like you said, CM Punk was a draw. I think in retrospect we saw that, but boy, the story they're telling with him right now is pretty damn good. And so I'm not going to complain about that. And so, and I do have one friend that I didn't know, that you talk about ex-girlfriend. We didn't date, but I had a friend in college who I didn't know until she got married to her now husband. They watch AEW every week and buy every single pay-per-view. They are those people. Yeah. And so okay, fine. But and I'm the WWE guy and she can be the AEW woman, and that's perfectly fine. But it is kind of, and those people exist and they enjoy that product. And I wouldn't want to shit on those people. Hearing the voices, here we go. And so Henry Smart rolling out of the ring.
Orton already kicked out of the World's Strongest Slam.
World's Strongest Slam.
Again, going to attempt the DDT.
He's trying. Oh boy, is he going to get him through on the ropes on this one?
I don't think so. He's the king.
Oh boy, that is a lot of man hanging on the ropes right there.
Randy Orton did it. Randy Orton did it.
That was impressive.
Henry.
But yeah, I mean, so they're out there, and they're going to have their fans. I want them to be successful for the wrestler's sake. I don't want them to be successful for Tony Khan's sake, and putting out there. But I think you see more and more. Was it the Stephanie? What's her? I forget the wrestler from CMLL or whatever it is, who wrestled Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, and then immediately signed with WWE, and was everybody's pissed. But then there's the reports I'm reading is yeah, well, she was never going to go to AEW. I got her on TV and I got it, but she was never going to go to do that. Why would she? You still can't overcome the argument of WWE is the top of the mountain. It absolutely always will be. I think you've got people we've seen Jordan Grace for a while here now, but in the Rumble, 2024 is her setup to be signed in January of 2025 by WWE. She's already said her contract is up. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She's debuting or she's coming back at the Rumble again, and she's going to win or not win, but she's going to be in it and she's going to do well. And they're going to sign her. But that's good. But I think we're seeing more and more too this era of they're putting their Will Ospreay and MJF are on, they're on the weekly show on AEW. And I think one way that, we've talked a lot about an off season for WWE. I don't think they necessarily need an off season with how injuries are keeping people off, and
you just give guys breaks, and you give them breaks. You're not inhumane like Vince McMahon was with these guys. I mean,
and then they come back
like the circus.
And you and I text each other all the time of who is out still. Charlotte Flair still has to come back. Becky's allegedly not even signed right now.
There's consistently 10 megastars that are injured, it feels like, or out. Okay, so lost the RKO.
blocked the RKO, threw Randy Orton halfway across the ring, and then hit him with the world's strongest slam. Oh, what a face. Boy, the fans not pleased with this.
Mark Henry is world champion, and all doubters and cynics be damned.
I felt like this was Mark Henry's night. Like I said, you get one chance in this business to be great. Mark Henry took that chance tonight. He will go down as one of the world heavyweight champions here in the WWE. You got.
All right, there you go. All right, let's get into the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
Man, fans look pissed. What do you think?
Fans do look pissed. That's crazy. I thought it was overall it was pretty good. I think that it was really a show of strength there for Mark Henry and just how what he is. Some of the mixed smattering of fans that are a fan. I have no problem with this. I think let him have another run. Let him have the run. Like, he's the world's strongest man. It makes sense. Nobody wanted to wrestle him in the lead up to this. Like, let's do it. Yeah, I'm all right with this. How about you?
I liked Henry as a heel. I liked him getting the title. I think he deserved the world title. So I was a big fan of this and just him in general.
Yeah. So afterwards on this one, they actually.
I will say though, again, this era, you flip flop these damn titles so often, and I love so much more what's being done now.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of flip flopping the belts here, so he actually that following month, Hell in a Cell, these two did have a Hell in a Cell match with Mark Henry won, but then you have Big Show and Mark Henry feuding with each other. Another, I don't know, is Big Show still at? I don't think he's at AEW
I thought he
either.
was still.
He might still be there, but anyway. So this was, of course, when they had the spot where the ring broke as well too. So you had that. So they ended up having a no contest match. But then you had Henry feuding with who at the time was the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, Daniel Bryan, and kind of feuding with each other on that. You had what do we have? Survivor Series, Mark Henry retaining the title against Big Show, and dealing with that. And so it culminated though. You had Daniel Bryan winning the Fatal 4-Way to face Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship eventually, and then it was on SmackDown. Mark Henry defeated Daniel Bryan in a steel cage match to retain. So he had a little run here, so that was all right. Orton, on the flip side, like I said, failed to retain, but then started feuding with who at the time was his stablemate, Cody Rhodes. And it kind of goes back to their legacy days. That's a story WWE hasn't even revisited yet. And so we can still see that at some point too.
Oh, and we sure as hell will. Even if you did babyface, I mean, you have to tell that story somehow, some way.
We'll get there eventually. Absolutely. But then Orton ended up winning the 41-man battle royal to win a title shot of his choice, and ended up losing. This was October, losing to Mark Henry. Well, he won by DQ because Cody Rhodes got involved, and so he ended up not winning the belt on that one. And so then you had Orton beating Cody Rhodes at Vengeance, and then again on SmackDown in a street fight. So we'll come back to that. I'm sure that we will be able to tell that story sooner than later. So yeah, but all right, PWI 2011, Mark Henry was 57, but Randy Orton number 2, way up on the list in 2011, so showing what he's capable of. This match beaten, best match poll, the Observer Newsletter, beaten just by a little bit by the Triple H CM Punk main event, like we talked about here. Henry beat Orton cleanly with the World's Strongest Slam. It was a cleaner win as a heel has gotten over Cena or Orton in recent memory. It leads to a Hell in a Cell rematch. It's been so long since the company has had a true monster heel push like this, probably dating back to Great Khali's run in 2006 and 7 with Undertaker and Cena, and Khali was far more limited in what he could do. They ended up giving this one, let's see, they started, you could tell nobody really thought he was going to take the title. Then Then they started cheering for him. Matthews came to the ring to interview Henry, and he started yelling at the fans to stop cheering because none of them believed in him. And all the fans are haters. That's a good way to take it. He said he's going to become the most dominant champion of all time and never going to lose the title. 2 3/4 stars. So 2 3/4 on this one. That was all we got, but some high remarks for kind of how it played out. So where are you going to rank this one?
I'm going to give it a 7 because of the significance of Henry becoming world champion, and I really like it, and I thought he was great in that role. So, again, the match was not – there's a million cruiserweight matches out there. They're better than this. But that's not what we do here. And overall, I had this at a 7. I really liked it.
Yeah, I too, I'm at a 7. I thought it was pretty good. It was it really wasn't bad. Like, I thought you had the heel dominant, like, and that's what you want to see, and like winning the title and kind of doing that. And I thought that was just really good. And so, get into that. It's just enjoyable. So, like you said, nothing crazy, nothing like, oh my God, I wouldn't go out of my way to necessarily rewatch this one like we do, but it was still very good in regards to, kind of what was offered and just the match itself. It was just stiff. Like, he's not going to chop down Mark Henry. And we didn't see that. Like, he's not going to RKO Henry. Like, he's going to toss him across the ring. And that's exactly what happened. So yeah, pretty good stuff.
I liked it.
So with that, let's remind everyone.
We got an interesting one next week.
We do have an interesting one next week. Yeah, but interesting for all the wrong reasons. So we're going to Nitro 1998. Of course, the Giants, Sting, and Goldberg. And so who doesn't want that? But of course, as always, manscaped.com using our promo code PAYOFF. It's getting you free shipping, 20% off everything in your cart. Make sure to use that. We're hooking you up with what we can. And so PAYOFF, 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com. So yeah, let's head off to Nitro next week, kind of check that out. Who knows what, I don't know what to, I know what to expect, but we cover the good and the bad, as we like to say. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped to cover it. So it's a wild show. We'll get into all that, but appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.